I'll admit, when I first saw the trailers for Paddington, I was pretty skeptical. We've seen countless nostalgia-pandering cash grabs like Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Smurfs, and now this new Peter Rabbit film.
Show me your teeth. Do like a goat, like... It was you! I knew it! How are you? So good to see you.
Yeah, because when I think back to the quaint original Peter Rabbit books, the exact actor I envision voicing him is James fucking Corden. And in all honesty, Paddington didn't initially look much better. The early trailers seem to rely a little too heavily on slapstick and gross-out humour, probably in an attempt to appeal to the Minions crowd. But you know what? It was actually really good. The film was funny with a nice variety of comedy, very charming, and managed to stay true to the heart of the original, whilst also upping the ante when needed. So then when I saw the trailers for Paddington 2, I immediately became worried again. The first one turned out so great, but it also seemed like the kind of thing they could only get right once. And upon seeing some of the same jokes repeated, as well as a focus on slapstick humour, I was concerned that this would just be a soulless cash grab attempting to ride the success of the first. But after seeing the film, not only was Paddington 2 as good as the first, but it might be even better. They took everything the first one did well and improved upon it, and the film is an absolute joy to watch. It's funny, heartwarming, surprisingly intense, and even quite emotional. The film is set a few years after the first, where Paddington has now settled fully into the Browns' neighbourhood. Paddington wishes to find a present for his Aunt Lucy's 100th birthday and comes across a one-of-a-kind pop-up book that explores the landmarks of London. Considering Aunt Lucy has always wanted to visit London, he decides that this gift would be perfect for her, and so Paddington begins working a series of odd jobs to earn enough money to buy the book. However, the day before Paddington is going to purchase the book, a man in disguise steals it, and Paddington is wrongfully accused and sent to jail. So it's up to the Browns to solve the mystery of the thief and clear Paddington's name, whilst also figuring out what deeper secrets the book may hold. The movie demonstrates an impressive amount of range, covering everything from simple day-to-day skits to rather intense action sequences. It's almost hard to believe that Paddington could go from simply washing windows to running across the roof of a speeding train, and yet it works. The creators were able to place pure joy into every single scene, and there's never a dull moment. The film is also lovely to look at visually. I'd say there's a definite Wes Anderson influence, particularly in the framing and art direction. However, it's not just a carbon copy. The film does plenty of its own creative visual work, and it's all wonderful. There's even a nice callback to the original Paddington TV series. Overall, the film just looks gorgeous, and it's complemented further by the use of comedy. Paddington 2 absolutely nails being a family comedy. There's a variety of jokes that ensure the film appeals to all ages, but the more kid-friendly jokes are never too childish, and the older jokes are never too complicated or stoop to immature adult references. The film also features an all-star cast, but is never distracting and avoids feeling shoved in. Everyone plays their part brilliantly, especially Hugh Grant, who I'd say is an even better villain than the first one. His motivation is far better realised, and his charisma makes for a much more entertaining character. On top of that, the film ends with a train scene, and let me tell you, if there's one thing I love, it's a train scene. However, I think one of Paddington 2's best qualities is that they use everything. Okay, allow me to explain what I mean by that. There's a rule in storytelling known as Chekhov's gun, or Chekhov's, or I don't know how to pronounce that, which basically states that if a gun is said to be hanging on the wall in chapter 1, it has to go off by chapter 5. Essentially, it's the idea that everything you state or establish in the film has to be for a reason, and should play a part in the story. A great example of ignoring this is in The Room, in which they set up several pointless plot threads that go absolutely nowhere. Paddington 2, on the other hand, is a master of this. There are so many small details given to you that you don't really think much of at the time, and yet they all play a part in the story, and especially in the finale. It all results in the lovely feeling of the whole film being tied up in a satisfying bow. You see, this is how you do a sequel, a continuation, not a retread. They didn't do anything stupid like introduce a female Paddington or give Paddington a kid. They gave us a new interesting storyline with the same characters we love, and on top of that gave each of them a purpose and a journey. Whilst I didn't see many films in 2017, Paddington 2 was definitely one of the highlights. Seriously, there's just so much to love in these movies that I can't recommend them enough. In the sea of terrible nostalgia-pandering cash grabs, Paddington stands out as one of the few films that got it right, and the sequel did it even better. So that leaves the question, what could Paddington 3 do to surpass both? Perfect.